I almost left the house, not without my camera, but without my camera battery, which is pretty much the same thing, and would have been really, really shitty. Doing it. I'm gonna attempt. Yes! Sweet, sweet victory.
This is an exclusive Flavio Go.
One of the best parts about this penny board is that I can slide around in my own house. I've yet to be able to come into my bedroom smoothly, however. It's a work in progress. So lately I've realized I've been spending a bit more money than I probably should be. Things like my penny board and books and even food at times. I'm just spending more than I should be. And that's very unlike me. Usually I'm very budget conscious. And through a lot of thinking about this and sort of a lot of stuff that's been going on right now, I got to thinking about, I guess, like, money and happiness and how they sort of work together, and whether or not there's trade-offs of spending more money for higher levels of happiness. And actually, I'm going to do this a bit differently. Happiness. So I've really been sort of looking at how happiness and economics can go together, and sort of looking at ways that there could be some sort of trade-off type system. And so I think these trade-offs work with the inner mechanics of the economics and happiness division, because in order to have high happiness, like high, and I think this sort of works as a sort of trade-off, and I think this works as a trade-off because you have these high levels of, I'll just do a little smiley face, of happiness over here, and lower amounts of money. But because of this, I feel like there has to be some sort of connection in between, where having a high level of happiness means that it's okay to have less money. Whereas in turn, you often see people with low levels of happiness with lots of money, but they're not necessarily enjoying all of that money. So is it better, in a sense, to have a high level of happiness and lower amounts of money, therefore spending your money, whether it's buying, you know, a new penny board so you can go fast and have fun and enjoy yourself, or a book that you might want to read to whether it's education or anything else, is it better to spend your money on this and lower this for an increase in your happiness? I really like to think it is. I find oftentimes when I'm happier, I'm not as worried about money, and I'm not sort of like focusing on it as being this huge central point of my life. But other times when, say I'm not as happy, a lot of that stress seems to be from money. I pay a lot in tuition to go to school. Like, let's do this again. So I pay about $40,000 a year for tuition. Now, that's a bit of a lie. I don't actually pay $40,000. That's just how much my tuition is. So that's going to school, that's living in residence, that's having a meal plan, and it fluctuates from there. I think realistically right now it's probably somewhere around that much because I have a bit of a different housing situation as well as meal plan options. So from that $40,000, I have a pretty generous scholarship. Normally I'm pretty afraid of telling people, but I get about $21,000. So this means that I, have like $19,000 to come up with on my own. From student loans, I get the maximum amount I can get, which is about $11,000. This total leaves me with about $8,000 a year to figure out myself. This $8,000 is the bane of my existence. Last summer, I worked... Oh my gosh, this is getting out of control. Last summer, I worked 2 jobs. One of them was selling alcohol at a liquor store. I should have written rum. Alcohol at a liquor store, and the other was bussing tables. Let's pretend that's a dish pit. And sort of helping servers and bartending at a restaurant. These 2 jobs gave me a total of 60 hours a week. Through this, I made like $7,000 before tax. This meant that out of my total, I still had to get $1,000 from somewhere. This has been incredibly difficult for me, and for the past year I've realized that a lot of my stress has come from trying to figure out where I'm gonna get that extra $1,000. It's not like I have a house or a car or anything that I can sell, and to be frank, my family hasn't been the most well off, and they really can't support me when it comes to my education, no fault to their own. But it is something that's really important. So there are members of my family who do help me, and I'm incredibly thankful for those people. And they really support me with whatever I need to do. So I have the support, and through that I can find the means, but a lot of the time it can be pretty stressful in between, all because of this $1,000. Now, saving up this money during the summer is easy. Kind of. It can be really easy to accumulate a lot of these dollars, and I keep a pretty good savings account. Right now, I'm at like $1,000-ish for next year, and I still have quite a bit of the summer left to go. but I don't think that's enough to meet this total. And so because of that, I'm a bit worried, and I think I've been spending a lot more money than I should be. Which brings me back to my original point. Does a lower amount of money mean I'm going to be happier? And if I'm happier, is it worth it to have a lower amount of money? Thus, I present to you the economics of happiness. The pizza is now in the oven. Pizza's ready. I forgot to say that when it was actually ready, so I've started eating it. It looks pretty much incredible. And I'm very glad I did that.